Yo guys, what is up? It is Teacher's Game 2 coming at you with another video here, and we are doing Alpha Rag Boss. You can see I am currently on a velonasaur. How we are running this boss fight right now is we have two separate tribes in here actually. We are over on MTS. This is Alpha. My tribe is currently riding velonasaurs. We don't have the engrams, so we're just running along. You can see us running over there. There's the bosses. And we're up on the hill. Now, the other three are from another tribe. They are actually running around, and you can see them down there on their rhinos. There's a little bit of blur because it is an official server, so I do apologize. Now, the strategy is actually really easy. Number one, take out Dragon. On Alpha, it has 1 million health, so it's a lot easier to kill than the manticore. Manticore has 1.6 million, to put it in comparison. Now, while those guys are running around on their stuff down underneath, you'll see us up here. There are 4 of us, and we're just going to keep shooting at the dragon because if you have some decent pump shotguns, you can do a ton of damage. Now, in my hotbar, you're going to notice it's a little bit blurry, but I got med brews just in case I get hit by something. Shotgun, climbing pick, because there's a point in this video where I almost get stuck, and it's kind of funny. I got a climbing pick as well. I've also got myself my cryopod for my velonasaur. And I've got myself binoculars, a crossbow with grappling hooks just in case you need them, and then bolas for PvP purposes. Now I've also got myself some pretty good flak armor on, and some food and drink just in case I need it. Now, it is easier to go to first person mode when you are using a shotgun, simply due to the fact that when you zoom in, it kind of just like scopes in a little bit. You'll notice the dragon here. We have to get on because velonasaurs are not meant to take out the dragon. So we kind of run like little chickens. Now, dragon is after our teammates, so we hop back off and continue to shotgun. You notice it's almost dead. This method is incredibly OP. The wyverns do, not wyverns, but the rhinos do so much damage when you are actually smacking them, which is really nice, obviously. It is a PvP server, so you're going to see these guys that are commenting below, so on and so forth. Now, the dragon is almost shredded. And the dragon, which you're looking for, an alpha transmitter, transporter, all those sorts of things, which is really helpful, obviously, because we need those things. Now, you're going to see we're just shredding this thing at this moment. And I'm going to hop back on mine. You want to make sure to stop shooting as soon as the dragon is almost dead. So you see that the dragon is dead now. The reason you stop shooting is because you will lose the element if you kill it with a shotgun. It's not all the time, just most of the time that happens. Now comes the hardest part of the boss fight. That would be the manticore. Now you can see her over there. She is just going to do what she does over there. We actually rotate a little bit here. We're going to shoot her for a little bit, but there's a point in this, basically in this boss fight, where you can go and the stone golems cannot get to you. So when she gets to about half health, that's what we're going to go do. You'll see what I mean when we get there. You'll see my teammate down there. My ally. He's coming around this rhino. We're up here. We each brought in about 500 shotgun shots, which is a bit excessive, but just in case somebody dies, that's a good way to go about it. Velonasaurs do a ton of damage to the manticore, but it's really hard to get close to her, as you can see. Because when she does land, she does a ton of torpidity, so you just got to be careful about that. Now, we're still going to keep roasting her, obviously, as you can see. She gets near us here and comes for us, so we scatter because velonasaurs with prim saddles is what we're rocking on right now, and it is not a good way to go about it. So she leaves us alone pretty quickly, which is nice. And then we kind of like move to these woods over here, wait for her to leave us as the aggro. This hill to the right that you see with these rocks on it, I guess left now, this is where our buddy's like, hey, you know, you can shoot from up here. Now here's why it's so nice to have velonasaurs. They're one of the only tames that can actually shred the rock elementals, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second here. So, we go over here. She can land over here, but she isn't even focused on us, and you can see how much damage my velonasaur does to her. It's a lot. So, I just kind of like say, okay, whatever. Now this right here is where it was almost nice to have my climbing picks, because I'm down in this little hole, and I'm like, uh-oh. But I was able to get out, so we're good. Now, I end up just moving my velonasaur down there, so I don't need to worry about it. We hop off, and we continue to shred her. When she is down to about half health, that is when all of the other things show up, which is kind of, well, easy to figure out because she's down to half health. If you are sitting down here shredding her with shotguns while your buddies are down there working the other things, you will be just fine in this boss fight. The only thing that happens here is we lose 2 rhinos. We don't lose them, actually. They just end up getting knocked out. So we end up having to protect them. You'll see that here shortly. Now, this is the hardest part of the boss fight. I know it sounds, even though it looks really easy, it can go really wrong really fast. You do get over 400 element for this. So, if you do not have element gotchas, this is a really great way to do it. Just have 3 guys on good rhinos down there, and then 4 to 5 guys up on the hill with their velonasaurs and shotguns. The velonasaurs will make sense in a second here, because really the rock elementals down there are just a pain in the butt. You'll notice that we didn't shoot there because we don't want to risk hitting our teammates. But we continue to shoot at the manticore. Now, I do hop on every now and then because you're going to notice there's that first rock. So, the 4 of us sit here and shred him. It takes a little bit of time because these guys have a ton of health. But with 4 velonasaurs, we shred it pretty quickly. You'll notice it's already bloody. Now, what happens, and a really great way to do this, is basically to get one of your rhinos to bring up the other elementals up here. Like you'll notice we just absolutely clapped that one. But if you bring the other elementals up here, we just shred them quickly. So that way they're not to be worried about on the field, and that's why you really bring those velonasaurs in, just to make sure that they're not harassing the people who are actually fighting the boss. Well, not actually fighting, but at least distracting the boss. Because rhinos do a ton more damage. However, no matter how hard rhinos hit, they cannot take out the rock elementals. Unfortunately, they're just out of our range right here. You can see my teammates trying to shoot them, but they don't quite bring them in range. The guys down there finally figure out that it's about time to bring the actual rock elementals up to us. You'll see that in a second here. Now they're starting to come up towards us. And that is when the velonasaurs are actually useful. The velonasaurs will actually still shred the manticore too. It's just it's really hard to aim the velonasaur when you have multiple tribes inside of the boss fight with you. Now, what you're going to notice, I'm going to go ahead and hop on this in a second because they have 4 rock elementals. It's just basically causing them trouble down there. And it's not like the rock elementals do a whole heck of a lot of damage unless they throw the rocks. So basically you're pretty good to not even worry about the rock elementals. But it can be a really beneficial thing to do so. So, as we sit up here, we're waiting. There's one guy being chased, all the rock elementals. I promise they do lead them up here eventually because they're like, hey, why don't we just lead them up there to the velonasaurs? And I was like, yeah. That's what we've been trying to get you to do. So, we are at a distance here, so shooting her can be quite difficult. And you see I ping her here a little bit when she does her little turns and stuff. But we're kind of just waiting. Now this is where they figure out, hey, we should just bring the rock elementals to the guys in the velonasaurs. And we're like, yeah, that's a good idea, guys. It's almost like I've been asking you to do that. So they slowly start bringing them over because they're not very fast and they, for some reason, change aggro like there's no tomorrow. Here they come. So, You'll notice that this front one comes pretty close to us over here. It's kind of like fun. You're basically using an AA gun against the boss, which can be quite entertaining. There we go. So now you see he's finally brought him over here. And we just, all four of us, start just shredding these rock elementals. This is actually the first time I've ever done a boss fight. And we kill all of the rock elementals, which is kind of rare. I don't think I've ever seen that happen, because most people kind of just like kite him around. But with velonasaurs, it actually makes it doable. I just got to gain a little Sam here. Like, It's actually a pretty good velonasaur. I'm not complaining about it, at least. This is an MTS, so it's like everything restarted pretty recently. And there's 2 rock elementals down. I take the opportunity to go ahead and hit the boss a little bit. They're like just out of our range right here. No, they're not. There we go. So we focus the middle one first. It's almost dead. You can literally see the thing getting shredded as we're doing this. And you do have 40 minutes, so you have plenty of time to do this boss fight. It's far too easy in reality. And they finally bring it to us again. And we go ahead and shred it. And there's the 3rd one down. We go ahead and move on to the 4th one here. And it is hitting it for some of my teammates, just not all of us. I move forward about 2 steps, and for some reason, still doesn't help. But we are hitting the boss and everything, so it's like, we're getting there. So they bring us this one more. And then, unfortunately, this is when the rhinos start to go down. You can see my one dude running around on foot over there. Basically, his rhino is just beyond that fire. I end up going to save his rhino. Not save it. He probably would have been fine. But I go ahead and prevent the rock Ellie from shooting it. So there's 4 Ellies down. And then we're going after the last one right now. And you can see the manticore is almost dead. So it's not like it's a big issue. We're not really concerned at this point. We're just trying to save a couple of things if we can. And as you can see, I can't quite hit it from this range, unfortunately. But it's gone out of the range. Now, I start to see it go towards my buddy's rhino down there. I get aggroed to it. My teammates do not have the engrams for this. However, I do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and prevent this thing from killing your rhino while we just chill up here. So I go ahead and shoot the manticore a few more times without trying to smoke my teammate who just walked in front of me. And then I'm like, okay, I'll go kill this thing that's trying to come after you. So you can see it's attacking his rhino on the ground. However, velonasaurs make very short work of this. So I just sit here and absolutely shred this thing. Because it doesn't even aggro to you, which is pretty neato. And it's almost dead. And then 1 rhino saved. It was a pretty good rock Ellie. 145 is not a bad rock Ellie. And you'll notice we kind of start to move around. The manticore is getting really low on health, so we kind of be very careful when we shoot it now. Because we don't want to lose all the Ellie. It gives you a good chunk. And there's a little bit of anti-air that I'm doing right now, but it's not much. It's not like the velonasaurs can actually knock them out of the sky, which would be really nice, obviously. It just doesn't happen that way. So, anyways, as you can see, we've almost got it. And look how much damage this velonasaur. You can literally see the tick marks going down when a velonasaur shoots. It's just really hard to shoot it. So, this velonasaur is actually getting pretty good. Looking at about 10k health, 4,500 stam. And we're kind of just sitting here waiting right now. And you'll notice this thing is just about dead. And look how much damage this velonasaur does. It's just crazy because, yeah, they got it with some charges and stuff, but you can see the little tick marks going down, which is why you really do bring velonasaurs. I would suggest it at least. Now this is where our second rhino ends up going down. Not much we can do about that. It's just nighty-nighted. But we're almost done anyway, so it's not like it's a huge deal. Manticore is almost dead. It really is not a hard boss fight. You just need some coordination and to know what's going on, and you'll be totally cool. So, it's almost dead. You'll notice we stopped shooting at the shotguns because, well, we don't want to absolutely shred it. And we're just chilling. It's a pretty safe boss fight. You'll notice all this long grass in front of me. Took a nice little screenshot there. Mostly because I like to have one. And that's how easy it is. It literally is that easy. So, anyways, hopefully this video helped you out. And we kind of just move around, cryo our tames, pretty rhinos, some velonasaurs. I hop off. And Teacher's Game 2